You are listening to the City Vent, proudly sponsored by the Westview Motor Company, supplying your new and used cars. Find us at westviewmotorcompany.co.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 25 of the City Vent. We're calling this the Orient Hangover episode for two reasons. Because the game, we got absolutely battered yesterday 3-0, and also me and Chris were positively sozzled yesterday, weren't we, mate?
Do you know what? I am so hanging. I don't even remember getting off the train. I went to KFC. I paid 30 quid for a taxi home, which is only like a 5-mile journey. I remember. I'm probably, to be honest, mate, I'm probably still a little bit drunk. But that's probably the perfect time to do a podcast, right?
Of course it is. Why not? Why not talk about things where it's fresh in his mind? As minds aren't fresh, but the football's kind of fresh in our minds. Bit hazy, maybe. So yeah, I think we need to talk about it and essentially break it down yesterday, what the issues were on the pitch really to start with. So I mean, to start our day, we might as well talk through that. Started fantastic, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was. I mean, to be fair, like the journey and stuff was great. The game, first 10 minutes, I thought we played really well, and then it just went to absolute.
We always start well though. It's a weird thing. We first 10 minutes, we come out of the blocks, 5-minute teams, look like we're going to score, and then we concede or whatever, and then that seems to be it. It's bizarre.
It is, and I'll tell you what, it was interesting because I was talking to the Orient podcast boys. I was texting them after the game, and they said, "Oh, I thought you were actually really good," and I was like, "Really?" I thought we were absolutely terrible, and to be honest with you, when that first goal went in, which was out of nothing, completely out of nothing, heads went down. Heads completely went, and it's a difficult one for us because I think this is the first time we're actually going to have to be negative about the football that we're playing at the moment because it's crap. It just doesn't seem to be any cohesion whatsoever with that team, and it just seems also that whenever we go 1-0 down, we just lose his heads. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I always try not to call players out, and that's something that I try and live by. But I just don't think you can't protect and guard a performance from yesterday from our midfield too. I just thought they were absolutely hopeless. I think they both should be dropped, and it'll give them a kick up the arse because they've played every game this season. Some games have been good, some games have been poor. But over the last maybe 5 or 6, I think both of them really need a wake-up call because I've not rated them. And I'm talking about Smallwood and Gilly out there. I don't know what your thoughts are, but for me, they both need dropping.
Completely agree. I really do. And Smallwood for a while has just not been in form. I tell you what annoys me about him, apart from there was one free kick in, I think it was the first half that was actually really good. He's terrible on set pieces. His passing play is terrible at the moment. And like you said, you don't want to pick out certain players, but it feels like he's undroppable, and that's not acceptable. I'll tell you what was interesting though, mate, was that we were talking. So Lionel, who was a neutral, he came to watch the game with us yesterday, and he said, "Where was the captain? I did not feel that there was a captain on that pitch." And to be honest with you can't disagree with that. It just feels that, like, at the moment, he's just a passenger in the team, and it's disappointing. And Gilly as well. If I said it as well yesterday, I said he's like a kid at a school, a schoolyard who's trying to run after every ball, but he's getting nowhere near it. Both of them, it's just not working with them two whatsoever.
You don't feel that passion and that drive to get back into the game. I don't believe we saw it at Mansfield when they dug in and they got the 3 points. And we've got a man sent off. But since then, we've not seen it. This attitude of, come on, boys, let's get behind the ball, let's do something. It never felt yesterday like we were going to get back into that game. It's like they accepted that Orient were a better team and we were going to lose. It's the first time that we've heard booing, or I have, for potentially Mark Hughes yesterday after the game. And because I think a lot of fans are frustrated that it won't change things. I believe Mark Hughes is the right person at this football club. I do, and I'm not changing my stance on that. But I am starting to see those frustrations because yesterday they just refused to change it, and I feel like that might have changed the pattern of the game possibly.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we were all crying out for maybe a change at half time and we didn't see it and it was later on. But you're right. I mean, we stayed obviously till well after the full-time whistle, and I would say there were boos aimed at Mark Hughes. The worrying thing for me is if Mark Hughes cannot get this team working, who on earth will? Because it just seems to be a case of like, it doesn't matter who the manager is, or who it is, or whatsoever. It just is not working with this club. Do you know what I mean? Is it something to do with Bradford? Is it the mentality of the club? I don't know.
I mean, I don't feel like it's the flares are going up, and we've had a bit of bad form recently. I just think it's the football that we're seeing. We're not seeing that urgency to get back into games, and it is worrying. But I feel like this season's, there's loads of games ahead of us. We're about halfway through, and people keep saying this squad's going to click. But is it? Are we ever going to see that big result, or is it just going to be week on week getting a win here, win there, scraping results? So like, when is it going to click? If it is going to click, I think going back to the Smallwood point that you make, and the free kick situation, I think a lot of fans that you hear saying he's pulling rank. He's taking all the free kicks because he's the captain. He's pulling rank. Would you say that is the case from what you can see? And is the better people placed to take them? That's the other question.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, like, you got Banks, to be honest with you, who's great at set pieces. When was the last time? Do you know what? I tell you what, it's difficult for us because this is the first time we've been quite critical because we've had such a great time. But it feels like it. I mean, I can't remember the last time that he had a free kick that actually was on target and didn't go over the bar, or it didn't go massively wide. I think potentially you're right. I think there is maybe that he's pulling rank and that that he says that he has to take those free kicks, but it's not working. We need to change something. I mean, you look at the last two games, mate, as well. Look at Northampton. We were absolutely pummeled. I said it to you. I said I would not have been. I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd have won 5-0 at that game. Yesterday, I don't think I would have been surprised if we'd lost 5-0. And it's this kind of mentality. I don't know what's going on with these players. I mean, I mentioned to you yesterday, mate, I said about, is it too many individuals that used to play in the Championship that are going out for themselves rather than being a team of players? I don't know. I'm just so frustrated at the moment. And I know that a lot of City fans are talking to me yesterday. It's just frustrating, man. So frustrating.
When you look at that midfield, I feel like that is where the problem is when I'm looking at this team, because that's the heart of your team, where the players built and where they break down play as well. And I don't feel like they're doing it successfully. There was a lot of shirking challenges yesterday that we noticed. Again, I'm not going to pick out any individuals, but I think we all saw that. Do we need to bring the likes of Songo and Sutton into that midfield just to refresh it and just to start winning some battles in the middle of the park again?
Yeah, I think we do. It needs changing up. It just needs changing up. I think when we put Gilly in the midfield, I mean, to be fair, and I've said it on previous podcasts, I actually was a massive fan of him at the beginning of the season. He was, I'd say, first 10 games, I think he was my favourite player. I thought his effort, but it feels like he's become really defensive rather than the player that should be going forwards and creating the opportunities. And it's difficult as well when you're playing that kind of formation and you don't have an attacking midfielder that's going forward and putting the balls for Cook. It ain't going to work. Just one up front. And also, I want to mention as well, you mentioned about the shirking tackles. What were Leyton Orient doing with, at 89 minutes, the 3-0 up, running for absolutely everything? There was a ball that nearly went out for a goal kick, and they absolutely went full speed in, trying to get that ball back, even just to go, they'd already won the game by that point. The frustration for me was they went for everything, and I don't feel that our effort was there at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
total dedication from them to the final whistle, like you say. That right winger he had Matty Folds on toast pretty much the whole game.
Yeah,
but just to the final whistle when they scored that goal, like the team, I don't know, it just felt different, and you can see that they're going to go up. I don't care what anybody says to me. They're not going to, if they drop a bit of form, they're going to go up. They're like the Forest Green of last season to me. I thought they were great. I heard some people saying that they weren't much better than us. They weren't much in it, but come on, they were so much more on it yesterday. As a collective, Probably yes. As a group of individual players, I do believe we've probably got the best squad in the league, but they're just not showing us enough. Going back to Gilly, I think at the start of the season, he had a lot more space on the ball and a bit more freedom to run and what have you. And I feel like that has not been the case. People have worked us out, and I feel like he's struggled because he's not get time on the ball and he's losing individual battles and stuff like that. And yeah, we need a shake-up in midfield. But to a man, really, you could probably pick 3 players that had maybe half a decent game for City yesterday.
Yeah, and do you know what the frustrating thing for me is? I think our best player at the moment is Holiday. I don't think he's. He seems to be the one that everything comes from, and I just don't know. I just don't know what's going on with this team. I mean, can we genuinely say, bar maybe Harry Lewis, because I think he made 3 or 4 crucial saves yesterday, that any of those players is anyone that's not droppable?
I mean, no, I don't think there is. Yeah, I think one thing I would want to mention as well, this shows us yesterday how much we miss Critchlow in the back. He to me is undroppable. He is that one player. He's got a lot of stick at the start of the season. A lot of people weren't sure about him, but that sort of game yesterday in the last couple of games has shown how pivotal he is into our back four. He is undroppable when obviously he's not in the squad, but he is. Harry Lewis is. That's probably as far as I go at the minute. Maybe Andy Cook possibly because of the goal.
You got to keep Cookie in, but you're right, and it's frustrating because again it feels like a lot of players are undroppable. Critchlow, I mean, to be fair, mate, I said to you before on the game, I said we're good. You know, I was gutted that Critchlow wasn't back, and I thought we're going to be in trouble here. I mean, Timmy, his pace is incredible. I mean, he's faster than any player on that pitch, but I think he had a particularly great game. But I mean, who did bad? Maybe again, like maybe Holiday. Platt was not great.
They're just passengers, most of them. I mean, you might have said, they've done a couple of good bits here and there, but they just sort of went through the game. We never looked like we were going to get back into it, and that's how it turned out in the end, you know. It's just how we move on now to the next game, which is generally a game that we need to be picking points up from. Are we gonna win the next game? Do we beat them?
It has to be. I think that this has to be a message. I mean, Gillingham have scored 6 goals this season.
We did that in the pub, didn't we? So on this point, I saw this stat on Twitter that they'd scored 6 goals all season. So I went round, because how many games were we in? 21, 22? Something like that?
Yeah, like that, yeah.
So there were about 12 of us City fans in this. What pub were it? It was a pretty good pub, wasn't it?
I can't remember, mate. I genuinely can't remember. It was good. There was a lot of City fans in there as well.
It was called a Harrow's Wood, so I can't remember, but it was decent. It was like an old school boozer that you want to expect, apart from the fact that I bought me and Chris a pint and it was £13.50 for 2 pints. Now,
do you know, he don't shut up about this. He hasn't shut up about this Woods.
I can't believe it. In Oakwood Social Club, it's a shout out there to my favourite place. £13.50 would get you 6 pints. 6, right? But what you do get in London, Chris, is when you do buy a pint, you get a free glass, don't you, mate?
So, I don't know if you'll see it because of the camera, but these pint glasses, right? We quite liked them, didn't we? I mean, it's the Camden ones; they're great. I may have taken a couple home. I may have taken more than a couple home.
I mean, they are good glasses because they're like a mid-size. Like, they are a pint, but they're like a chunky. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, well, if you go to London, guys, apparently that's free.
Yeah.
Well, we assumed that, didn't we? If that's not the case, we do apologise. But, I mean, because they were so expensive, is the glass not included?
I didn't hear anyone say when we got these pints that the glass wasn't included. So I'm going to go with that. I'll tell you one thing that used to wound me up about that pub, though, was where you went upstairs, and it was really nice upstairs, like almost like a snug room, wasn't it? And you went to the bar upstairs and went, "Oh no, we'll come to the table." What a waste of time is that? And
they didn't even come to the table. They were messing about. They took so long. I mean, in Yorkshire, it just would not be allowed to happen, would it? No. It'd just be chaos. They wouldn't have it. So people just sat politely waiting for the bar staff to come and take their order. Just doesn't feel right in this modern day and age that we live in. But that was that. Somebody had shit all over the toilet, and it was literally squirted all over the back at seats. So the men's were pretty much uninhabitable, which you'd expect in Yorkshire, to be fair, but in London, posh part as well. And the other thing, obviously, going back to what we were saying, so in 21 games or whatever it is, I saw this stat: how many goals had Gillingham scored? So we went round. Somebody was saying 20, 15, 14. Chris actually said 5, and he didn't Google it this time. But it turned out to be 6 goals. They've scored 6 goals all season. That is mad, isn't it? Andy Cook scored what? 14, is it?
15, isn't it? I think he's 15 now.
So he's outscored him nearly treble. That's mad.
Yeah, and by the sounds of things, they're in absolute dire straits as well. I mean, to be fair, if you're only scoring 6 goals so far, then of course you're going to be in dire straits. But yeah, I do think that is going to be an interesting game. Also, I just want to mention as well, the time of the kickoff is absolutely ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they changed this one. I mean, it's obviously I've got my England shirt on, so we'll talk about that soon. But it's for the World Cup. They're trying to move fixtures around, and I think Gillingham have got a cup game on the Thursday or something, which means that they need to prepare or whatever, and they need time to rest. But it's a load of bollocks because City fans have got to travel all that way, and it makes it a nightmare, especially when you've just been away to Orient as well. It's just a pain, isn't it?
It is, and it's frustrating for fans. And again, I feel like it's this whole nobody cares about lower league fans whatsoever. And I understand, obviously, this is a completely different year because of the World Cup and being in the winter. But what is it? Is it 11:30 kickoff in Gillingham?
It's ludicrous.
And the thing is, as well, people will have ordered their trains as well, right? The train tickets. And then now they probably won't get the money back. And that's what's ridiculous. And it's absolutely shit for football fans at the moment. I mean, yesterday, to be fair, wasn't the worst, was it? I mean, 12:30, yeah, not great, but we managed to get there. But to go to Gillingham at that time in the morning is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, and fair play to any City fans that do it. And we know that you travel all over the country following them, and you can't beat it in a way day, and especially on train, it's fantastic. But that early element of it does put a bit of a spanner in the works, and I feel like it's going to really affect our attendance there. But maybe the lads will play better when there's not many of us there. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's a secret that's missing, that they don't like playing in front of big crowds. You know what I mean?
No, because the problem is, I know what you're saying. I know you're only joking, but the thing is, they shouldn't be here if they can't play in front of big fans. They shouldn't be here.
You're a little fan.
Exactly, mate, exactly. But do you know what I mean? They shouldn't be here. If they can't play in front of crowds, and we sell out Leyton Orient on a Saturday at 12:30, and we sell it out. What was it? 12,000 fans yesterday, and they can't play in front of that. I'm sorry, that's shit. Not acceptable.
I totally agree. Now, I just want to point out at this point in the podcast that my audio might be a little bit rubbish on this particular episode. We've had total issues this morning. We're hungover. Can't get my wires to work. My cables are all tied up in knots in my head and physically. So it's a little bit poor. We apologise, but we're not bothered. We're having fun, and we're just going to go with it anyway, so excuse us. What I would like to say is that it was a shame that we couldn't do the Bradford City conga on the train on the way home after a good result.
Do you know what? Again, I'm probably going to get loads of pelters today. It's probably because I'm still a bit drunk, but do you know what? I don't understand why there was such a problem with fans having a bit of a laugh on the train. I mean, I wasn't involved with it. I was too busy drinking. But do you know what? Why is it embarrassing? Why is it really bad that City fans are having a bit of a laugh and doing a conga? Tell me that. Tell me why, mate.
I don't know. I mean, it's just a bit of fun, innit? I just think, I guess, if you're not an ultra and you don't wear Stone Island and come and have a go if you think you're hard enough, then you're not good enough sometimes for this fan base. But who cares? You know, it was fun to certain people. They enjoyed it. You know, the Bantam's family or whatever people want to call them or whatever is what it is. People are having fun. Let them have the fun doing whatever they want to do. Simple as that. Stop being boring and just getting jealous about people doing what they want to do. Simple as that. That's how I want to put it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
Do you know what, mate? To be honest with you, even though the game was absolutely terrible, I had a quality day yesterday, mate.
Brilliant. I mean, it's like that. The night before an away day is quite exciting, isn't it? Even at our tender ages. Because you put all your beers in your bag the night before, don't you? All your stuff that you need, like your ibuprofen, your vodka in a fruit shoot bottle that you can sneak in places, your flags, and then you get it all ready. Morning, you go down to train station at, I don't know, 6, 7, crack a sparrows. You have a beer when you get there. Why wouldn't you? And then you meet your mates wherever you meet them, and then you just have a right good jolly, don't you? On way down, and build yourself up for that disappointing result.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't even think when we were going down we were too concerned about what the score would be. I mean, obviously, if you listen to the last 20 minutes, you'll hear I've been going mental. But I just enjoyed it, meeting up with City fans, having a good conversation, hearing their stories and stuff like that. It was really good yesterday. I know we don't get to every away game. That's just, it's difficult, and I know there are so many fans that are dedicated and go every single game they can. It's something that we're looking at, that hopefully we can get at least one of us to an away game, every away game. I'm not going to Gillingham, by the way, mate. You can do that one. But it's just really, honestly, it's a great atmosphere, and the Bantams family, honestly, I absolutely adore it. It's great, and it's the community spirit is just fantastic, and that's what the away day was about yesterday. It wasn't the 3-0 defeat to Leyton Orient. It was meeting people and having a few beers and just having a good time, even though the football were crap.
Chris likes all this Bantams family business and this come and see me, I'm a celebrity, all that, look at me fans. Whereas I just want to go have a few beers and get smashed and talk shit, to be honest with you. But we had a great time.
Mate, you do that constantly, so.
It's just every day. That's just every day in my general life. But no, we had a great day, like we say. We got to the game, and then we had a few beers after it. Then we got 2 bottles of gin for the train home, 2 big bottles, and yeah, Chris's eyes were just absolutely gone by the time we got back to Leeds. I don't even think he knew his own name at that point.
I definitely didn't, mate, and I think I probably sucked about half of that bottle as well. I don't remember getting home at all. We bumped into a space invader though, didn't we?
We did indeed, and we bumped into a lovely lady called Ruth as well that had been to the theatre. So shout out to you, Ruth. You're never going to listen to this, but hi, Ruth. But yeah, good day out in general. We got back, had a kebab, went to bed, and that. Actually, no, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my journey home. So I'm with a fella called Gareth who lives near me in Keighley. And we got off train in Keighley. And he said, "Do you fancy a kebab?" I said, "Yeah, I do." So we're walking up Cavendish Street in Keighley, and there's a couple of like shawarma shops, but the problem is they're not as good as the one in Bradford. So it's like you're getting second best. So we said, "No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go for the old school traditional kebab that we don't know what the meat is, but it's great and it tastes great." What, dog? Yeah, cat? I don't know. So we'd gone up to this takeaway that's on North Street near Star Pub, and I said to the lads, "I'm desperate for a piss. Can I go to your toilet?" And they said, No, we don't have one." So I had to go somewhere else in a car park, and I was just mid-floor, and all of a sudden these lights came on behind me in this big motor. I thought, shit, old Bill. And then this lass shouted, "Hey, come here." I looked round and I'm hearing voices. She went, "Oh yeah, when you finish your week, come here." I'm like, oh my God. So because I were obviously tanked up, I turned around and I went to this car, and indicators are going off and lights were all flashing. I said, "Are you okay? What can I do?" And she went, "I can't get my indicators off. They won't go off." So I looked in, and she's got like this with, indicator thingy, stick, lever, whatever. And I said, "Your hazards are on, love." Like, I was stupid. Like, what are hazards? I'm like, it's that big red button in the middle of your dashboard. And she clicked it and they went off, and she's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." So I just walked away like nothing had happened. Like, that was really bizarre. But there you go. These things happen at nights out, like really strange things like that.
How were your kebab though? Was it good?
It was good, mate. Yeah. So I like that old school naan bread kebab meat, and then I like both sauces. I'm a bit of a chili and mint man, so
I'm with you on that one, mate.
It was good. Enjoyed it, but by that point, you don't want to eat too much. So I had about half of it, and the rest of it went in bin. So it was good though. What did you have?
You didn't have it for breakfast?
No, I would eat it for breakfast normally, but I think last night I thought, because I didn't enjoy it that much, I kind of binned it because I thought I might not enjoy it tomorrow, but I'm really regretting that decision. So, what did you have?
I went for KFC, mate, but I usually would go for like a boneless banquet, but I've got like a 3-piece chicken. I've still got half of it. I'm going to eat it in a bit.
Chicken day after. Not sure about that.
Yeah, it's chips. I always say you have to eat chips first, but yeah.
What, the day after you'd eat cold chips?
No, I'm saying I'd always eat the chips first, as in like
Well,
on the night.
Right, that makes sense. I guess that figures.
Yeah.
I still think I don't know, but I don't know what I can get on board with that. Like chicken and rice the day after is just bacteria, isn't it?
Nah, I love it.
Well, I hope you enjoy yourself anyway with your chicken. Is that going to be like a mid-morning snack? Because we are actually somehow we've decided to do a podcast like in the morning.
Adam rung me up about half an hour ago and said, "Right, should we do the podcast?" And I was like, "I'm still in bed. I feel like crap. I mean, look at my eyes. I look awful." So yeah, this is why we're doing it, and it's probably a little bit different to what we usually do. But you know what? It's all good. I think
just briefly going back to the football, because I think we want to talk a little bit more about the Gillingham game that's upcoming as well, because it is massively important. I mean, we talked a couple of weeks ago on one of the podcasts. Are you been sick? Your head went down then. So we talked a couple of weeks ago about it potentially being season defining, the next couple of fixtures. We said that, and we've lost both of the ones that we kind of mentioned. But now we've got the third game. So we played two of the big hitters, let's say, end of season. They're both going to be up there, Northampton and Orient. But now we've got a team that potentially going to be at the other end of the table. Is it season defining, that particular game? Do we need to win it?
I think maybe not season defining, but I think it shows us where we are currently because of the fact that Gillingham obviously can't do anything right at the moment. So if they get a victory against us next week, then there has got to be massive alarm bells towards the rest of the season. I'm starting to think now that January is going to be absolutely crucial for the rest of the season for us. We've got to bring in at least 2-3 players, in all honesty.
We're going to do that because, I mean, if you look at this squad, let's be honest, there's been money spent on it. There's wages spent. However you look at it, there's some real quality in there. So does that mean that we're going to see some player exits and players coming in? I mean, how's that going to work?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there will be players leaving. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really want to see it, but I think it will happen. I think Levi will probably move on in January. He's getting nowhere near the team, is he? He's been great for us as Levi. Obviously, it's just not work this season. You look at like the lockdown season. I thought he was probably our best player, but it's just not happening for him, and he needs to be playing regular football as Levi. So I think I mean I don't know this for a fact or anything like that, but I do think that maybe Levi. I wonder maybe would Songo leave? I mean he's always been kind of that bit part player, isn't he? And he's coming when he's needed to do. And to be fair to him, does a great job. But is he going to be frustrated? Is he going to want to move on and find a new club where he's going to be in the first team? And there's a few of them. There's a few players that probably could go out on loan or find another club. That's just the reality of football, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what the ins and outs are going to be. Even I know Angol's got he's got a longer contract on it and what have you. He just signed it, but he's just done absolutely nothing this season. He came on yesterday, didn't really look interested. Again, I don't like picking out individual players, but there's players like him that are on that periphery as well. That are they potentially looking at it and thinking, "Am I going to get in this team?" We've said it before. It's a long season. Mark Hughes likes rotation. These players are probably going to come back into the squad and when we need them, but he's not rotating it now. So I mean, we talk about rotation, but there's players that aren't clearly performing that are staying in the squad week in, week out. So when are we going to start rotating? Is it going to happen like we keep saying?
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Look at the last 2 games, mate. Something has to change. There has to be big decisions.
When you look at his interviews, Chris, sorry to disrupt you there, mate, but he seems quite happy. He doesn't seem like alarmed like us, really, by the performances. And is that a little bit worrying?
Is it more of a case that he's just saying what he's saying to the press or whatever, and he's giving this line, but actually behind closed doors, he's going, "This just isn't working." I don't know. I mean, maybe for some reason he is happy with the team, but anybody else who watches that football team, especially yesterday, and Northampton as well, there has to be some changes because this team is not working at the moment at all.
I've been an avid defender of Mark Hughes because, as I said previously today, I do feel like he's the man that will take us forward. But there's questions to be asked now. The formation, there's this stubbornness to not change it at all. It's like, I know best, I'm not going to change it. And we can all see that it's not quite working. So do we need to see more changes? I mean, somebody mentioned to me yesterday, the number 2 that we have, Glynn, he's done it at this level. He knows the level. He knows how to get out of this division. What influence is he having, if any? Is he having influence on the squad and the tactics?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't know. I'd imagine that surely he's got to have something. I mean, is it a case of that we're looking for a fall guy at the minute?
Yeah.
Which we're not saying that. That's not what we're saying, but we are potentially looking for a fall guy at the moment. I just don't know. It's just so frustrating. It's just, but like I said before, if Mark Hughes can't get this football club into League One, I don't think anyone can, unless we get Aki back.
I know, and it's the old Derek Adams, isn't it? You're not going to get anybody better than me, but you literally won't at this level get anybody better than Mark Hughes. That's just obvious to say it. You might get somebody. I mean, a lot of people were saying after yesterday, Richie Wellens is the man that could have taken us forward. He's done it time and time again. He's doing it at Orient. Would he have been a good appointment? People said he was in the bag, and then whatever happened. But we've had the managers that have known this level and have not managed to do it. So obviously, in Hughes, we trust and all that on Twitter
completely.
And we'll just see where we go. But I do feel like he needs to change it, and I think we all can see that. And hopefully, next few games, even Gillingham, maybe it's a time to switch it up because we know they're a bit of a lesser foe. Get a result there, and maybe kick on a little bit. So yeah, going back to that, I do potentially feel like these next few games are season defining. We're still in the mix, but they're defining in a way that those top 3 positions that we should be aiming for, let's be honest, they're getting further and further away. You lose a Gillingham game, you're potentially 9 points away from the top 3. I know that they got a draw, didn't they, Northampton yesterday at Tranmere, I think.
Yeah.
So not further away than they could have been, but if we'd have won our game, we'd have been a point behind them.
I think this is the frustrating part. Is like we're probably talking like that we are, mid-table or something like that. I think the frustrating thing is that we know this crop of players have the ability, and there's certain players as well. I just don't know whether they're playing for themselves rather than the club. Again, I'm not going to mention any names, but there are certain players that came from the Championship or wherever, and they're not. I think they still think they're in the Championship, but they're almost like, well, I need to get back there, and I'm going to do this. But they're in League Two, and I just feel that sometimes, and I personally thought it yesterday, too many individual performances rather than a team performance.
Absolutely, and we mentioned Lionel earlier, the Kilmarnock fan that joined us, and he was chatting to me after the game, and we mentioned obviously the captain situation, but he also said, I mean, I was looking at that game, and you were 2-0 down, 3-0 down at points, and all your back four were doing were just knocking it between themselves. The back two were passing it to each other. He said they had probably the most passes in the game. Your midfield, I mean, Angle were then dropping from being a striker right back into midfield. He just said he couldn't work out what was going on. There weren't any urgency. There were just diagonal balls going out of play and getting intercepted, and there just didn't seem to be a plan B. And I think we all feel that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, I mean, I went mental. In fact, I was trying to work out why I've got a sore throat, and it's because I actually did go mental. I think Platt gave the ball away to them, their attacker, 3 or 4 times yesterday. Very disappointing. It was almost like he'd given up in some ways. And I know Hughes likes to play from the back. Majority of the time it works, but at the moment there's a reason why these players are in League Two.
I think it's Critchlow. I feel like Platt is much more comfortable when he's got Critchlow next to him. Because we've seen Songo come in as well, and that's not quite worked. But I feel like that he's pivotal. And you know what the worry is with Critchlow? There's nothing saying that he might not go back to Huddersfield because they're struggling in Championship. Could he go back there in January?
Yeah, they've done it before. The previous form on that. They've done that. They've done that. They recall players, especially when they are really struggling, and he's as good as he's been. I mean, we call him Rolls Royce. How often? We are massively missing him, but there is a big worry for me that he goes back in January and he goes straight into their team. What do we do there? I mean, let's be fair. Like I've mentioned Timmy as well, but like Timmy's not been the player we expected yet.
Absolutely agree. I mean, we sung a song about him, didn't we? Or I did, famously. Stupidly at the start of the season, expecting big things, and maybe we did get told by Hartlepool fans that he's better in the back three, and you can probably see that with the way he plays and the pace and things. And he's not really good at winning those first balls in the air, particularly. So we're not possibly playing to his strengths, but he has been like quite weak when he's been in the squad, to be fair. So yeah, I think we are struggling in the defensive sector, both in midfield and the centre back partnerships.
I think if you look at that, sorry mate, you look at that, and it's interesting you mentioned that as well, because defence we've got issues, midfield we've got issues, up front doesn't work. We've got issues all over the park at the moment, right?
Yeah, I think that when you look at yesterday, Jamie Walker has obviously come back in. He's played 2 halves now, hasn't he? Pretty much, well, probably less than, over the last couple of games. And we all are screaming out for Jamie Walker. It's all over the social media. People want him back in. And I feel like he's going to be pivotal as well. Chapman, I don't feel like Chapman's done much wrong. He does try and make things happen. Yes, he gives the ball away at times and makes bad decisions, but he's trying to make things happen. And I feel like him, with Jamie Walker starting, which way around you do it, on the right hand side, in the middle, whatever, I feel like that is going to be a good way to go about things. Walker maybe not up to speed yet, but that player to come back in is going to be like a new signing for me in January. Yeah. And I'm really excited about that. So I feel we've got to look at some of the positives of who's coming back. The other player I want to mention that I feel like we've missed, and I say this because he hasn't even played this season, but I feel like he could have been really good, Paddy.
Yeah.
Got injured first game of the season. He looked so good in pre-season, and I feel like him in that midfield alongside maybe Smallwood, that is possibly what we're missing, a player like that, because he's got that excitement in his game. He can beat a man.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, I know he only played 5 minutes of the first game of the season, but he was everywhere. He was all over the pitch. And obviously, it's incredibly unfortunate what happened to him. But I think you're right. And to be honest with you, I'd completely forgotten about him. I'd absolutely forgotten about him. But I mean, I don't know where his recovery is at the moment. I saw that he was running, but he was in like an oxygen tank or something like that. So hopefully he'll be coming back soonish. But you're right. I think we need that. Chapman as well, going back on Chapman. I agree. I just think sometimes he does just a little bit too much. And Jamie as well, obviously, I think, was it the first game of the season that he got injured as well? So he needs some time to get back up to scratch. But we do this often, don't we, where a player's injured and we go, they're going to be the next Messiah. They're going to be the Messiah. They're going to come back into this team and we're going to win 10-0 every single game. We've just got to give these players time when they come back. That's the thing. And Jamie needs that time as well to just get his confidence back up and back to the great player that we know he is.
The Scottish Messi is coming back with a vengeance in January onwards, and he's going to tear this league apart. And I think we've got to remember that we're in the mix. We're 7th away after yesterday, or 6th, something like that. I couldn't look at the table after the result. It pissed me off.
Me neither. So I'll go with whatever you said.
We're somewhere like that. So we're there. I mean, we're thereabouts. Plenty of games left, but we do need to see some changes. So yeah, I mean, obviously for the rest of the day, it's World Cup fever, as you can see. I'm not in any Bradford City gear today. I'm ticked from a night tick there, but England are playing. So do you know what? We love disappointment. We support Bradford City. We support England. But is this the year for England, mate? I know we should be talking Bradford City, but why not talk about England for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 3 minutes?
Do you know what? This World Cup, as much as I want to hate it, has been absolutely incredible. I think the stat someone told me, I think it was Ryan told me yesterday, was that no team have ever won the World Cup after losing a group stage game. And maybe we're probably like the only team that haven't been beaten. Do I think we're going to win it? No, I still think Brazil are too strong. France is still very strong as well. It's been, I mean, apart bar the, I mean, let's scrap the USA game completely.
It's just going on. Isn't it funny? Because so many people watched that and said it's like watching Bradford City, because the way that England were playing against USA, it were like the same pattern. The two centre backs passing it between themselves. Isn't it weird? I mean, obviously it's a different level, but it's like that's what we base our play on sometimes. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I do agree. But the problem is that these guys are a lot more talented than ours. But no, you're right. And but to be fair with you, with the forward the forward players that we've got in the England squad, let's face it, that they're all pretty decent, man. I mean, the fact that Foden struggled to get in the team to begin with, and I tell you what, the star for me, and I think he's massively overrated, but I'm actually thinking about this again, is Rashford. I think Rashford's been quality.
Do you know what? It's weird because there's certain players that play well for England. Maguire, wow, he's been in the team of the tournament so far. I read a stat the other day that he was in average ratings. He's like up there. He's been solid. He's won everything. Slabhead, he's won everything in the air. Defensively sound, passing perfect. John Stones as well. Both of them have been absolutely fantastic. Pickford's always good for England. Rashford's one that you'd pick out. Sterling, I know he's sort of come out of the team again, but Sterling's always good for England. And it's funny that they do step up on national duty, but I do get frustrated with Southgate and his decision making at times, because Mason Mount, for me, should have been dropped after the first game. I didn't think he offered enough. Phillips, I know it's a dirty word because he was a Leeds man, but Phillips, when he came in, I thought was better when he came on as a sub. Set up that goal, a really good pass actually to Rashford. And Foden's got to be in the team. He's one of the best players in the world for me. So talented. You've got to play him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back on what you said about Southgate. I mean, the thing is, I know there's obviously a lot of criticism from him at the moment, but we've just had two major tournaments in a row that have been the best we've had for a long time. I mean, sadly, I think when we had the penalty shootout against Italy, I kind of felt that we were going to struggle against Donnarumma. But he's doing it again on the major stage, and for me, that's enough. So
it's not enough, because as England fans, there's an expectation. Since I've been born, well, maybe not born, I remember the first World Cup I can remember is when Owen scored against Argentina and he broke onto the scene. Do you remember? I mean, that's probably about the fourth World Cup you're
yeah, it probably is, mate. Yeah,
he's got a beauty, didn't he? And then Beckham got sent off, didn't he? I think in the same game or whatever. And that's the first one I can remember. And ever since that moment, Alan Shearer was my first hero in footballing hero. And I've got a picture of him behind me that's signed, if you can see it. Somewhere up there. I absolutely loved Alan Shearer. And I just had that connection with England always. And I just absolutely love watching England, because the whole country seems to unite. Everybody gets behind them, and it's just ace. But I do feel like we've got that expectation. Every football fan has it at their own club potential, like us at Bradford City, because you kind of like, you are a big fish, really. You've got players that play in the best league in the world, do it day in, day out. Bellingham is unbelievable. I know he plays in the Bundesliga, but what a player. We should expect to at least get to the semi or the final. It's just, we've got to get there.
Yeah, we've got to get there, and you're absolutely right. And no disrespect to Senegal either, but we should be winning that game tonight. Fingers crossed we do when this comes out. But yeah, I completely I get where you're coming from as well, and you're right. And I mean, for me, Bellingham is in the top 5 midfielders in the world right now.
19 years old as well. 19.
It's mental. It's absolutely mental. I genuinely believe he's in the top 5 best midfielders in this world. Honestly, I really do. I just love watching him play football, because he does. It's weird because he's one of those players in that position that doesn't often get the recognition it needs. You know, like kind of like I won't say Stuart McCall, but that kind of the one, maybe a Paul Scholes or something like that, where they didn't get the recognition they deserved. But he does that, but he does it with so much finesse. He's just great. I love watching Bellingham. He's great.
I mean, against Wales, he did a couple of turns, and it's like, has he just actually done that? It's almost like piss taking at times, like in positions that he shouldn't really be doing it, and you sort of cringe a bit, and then he just gets away with it and turns out, and it's like he knows exactly what he's doing. He's confident in his ability, and those are the types of players you love playing for England, and you've got that connection with. Love him. Him and I will say that Musiala for Germany, who actually play for England under 21s or something.
Yeah.
He's unreal as well. Those are like the two exciting talents, I think, in world football, barring Mbappe, who's already broke through. But those two at the minute are just so exciting.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, I didn't want to like this World Cup, but it's been absolutely amazing. It has been. Oh.
Germany going out, Uruguay going out, Belgium, Lukaku. Oh my God.
Spain 5 minutes away or 10 minutes away from going out as well.
Do you know what's funny? What really tickled me yesterday? So, as a City fan, I think who won it up front? I think it Randy Cook who sort of missed it. Just sort of hit him in the box, and somebody went, "Oh my God, he's like Lukaku." So somebody's, putting Andy Cook down by saying he's like Lukaku, which really made me laugh. Because obviously he's an international striker, but he were awful in that game, wasn't he?
He's been awful for the last year. In fact, since he went back to Chelsea. I mean, to be fair, that guy must be the richest footballer of all time because of the amount of £80 million deals he goes for. So apparently, I think it's like 10% of every fee that you go for, goes to the player. So he must be an absolute millionaire. But Chelsea have made I mean, he's not. Apparently, he's not going to stay in Milan. But yeah, I mean, look at when he were at Man United, overweight, terrible, and then.
I mean, he missed some sitters, but I remember watching it. He punched the perspex. What do you call it through? Where they're all the what do they call them? Dugouts. He punched it through.
Yeah.
I mean, show that in the game. Show a bit of. I mean, he just awful. But yeah, somebody compared Andy Cook to him yesterday, and it was like being detrimental to Andy Cook to compare to Lukaku. It just really tickled me. But they were the second-rated team in the world, Belgium, and they've absolutely blobbed onto this World Cup. Awful.
But you know what? The ranking system has been absolutely shite for so long. There's always been like teams up there that shouldn't have been nowhere near. So for me, I never, unless England were number one, then that's the only time I'd listen to it. But yeah, the ranking system. But I think that what was it? Someone said to me. In fact, this is quite funny. Was that he said Roberto Martinez being in charge of Belgium is like when Mr. What's his name? Mr. Burns gave him what was his name? One of the characters from Simpsons control of the power plant.
Homer?
No, not Homer. It was one of the other ones.
I get it. But he's got so much talent. It's like they call it the golden generation, don't they, at Belgium? They've just not done nothing. I remember Wales beating them. We don't like talking about Wales, but Wales are out. Wales are out of the competition. What, are they going to knock us out? Yeah?
Well, he was like, was it Sorba Thomas going, "Oh, we love beating England"? Hold on, mate. I'm pretty sure you played for England. So, like,
we'd love to knock England out. Like,
yeah, that's it, yeah.
Honestly, absolute fool. And Kiefer Moore as well. Exactly the same. I'd love to knock England out. You finished bottom of the group, lads. Thanks for coming. See you later. If there's any Wales fans that listen to this, I am not sorry whatsoever. I'm so pleased. Love it. And we're going to win it. We're going to go and win it, and I can't wait. But yeah, are you watching it anyway? When a few beers are out?
Mate, I'm not touching beer for another week, mate. Do you know what? Honestly, my head is hanging. I mean, like I said, anyone who's watching it on YouTube, look at my eyes, man. I look absolutely horrific.
You should have an headache for more than one reason, because on the train yesterday, it was that pissed. I'm just going to say it. He just kept lolling back and headbutting windows. Honestly, I'm like, mate, we need to put like a crash helmet on you or something, because you're just going like that all the time. You know what else you were doing? So Chris used to be in a band called, what were they called?
Oh, I forgot I played that. Glass Rope.
Last Sirens or something. Last Sirens, I think.
Sirens, yeah.
And we were making the whole carriage go silent to listen to him. But we wanted him to sing live, and he wouldn't do it. And he ended up playing these songs. And then somebody spoke during the song, and you got really upset. You went, right, I need 5 minutes to myself, and you just sat, like lolled over, like really upset.
You know what? I wasn't. To be honest with you, it wasn't. I was upset. It was because I wanted to play my game that I play on my phone, and I had to play it to get my daily rewards. So that was the reason. So I think I said to you, like, I said, "Oh, do you know what? I'm feeling. I just need 5 minutes of myself." Actually, it was just because I wanted to get my game done. That's what it was about.
Sad bastard. But I mean, yeah, it was an interesting journey. I mean, do you know what's funny though? When you're hungover, anybody. I mean, Chris is obviously in a different league to me because he's a single man. But when you're married, when you've got a partner, they always expect things from you when you're hungover. Like we're going here, we're putting the Christmas decorations up. She. To be fair, my good lady's got stew cooking in the slow cooker, and she's making a cheesecake, a Biscoff cheesecake for today.
Oh, mate.
But there is an expectation for Christmas decorations, and I'm just not in the mood. Just not. You know, you don't want to do it. I want fresh air. I want to take dog out. I want to have a coffee or something somewhere, and I want to come home and chill out. But no, other plans are on Rachel's mind this afternoon.
But that, to be fair, is probably the way that, you know, because you went out with the lads yesterday, so this is your payback for that. So she's making you do that.
Is that how this married life works, guys? Give me a bit of advice. Is that what?
Mate, I ain't got a clue. I wouldn't know.
This is not a question for you, Chris. This is anybody that's an experienced husband or partner. Give me a bit of advice. What should I do? But no, I mean, she's great. It's fantastic that she wants to put Christmas decorations up and be festive, but on a day like today, I'm just not feeling it, guys.
No, absolutely not. Where are you going to watch the England game?
Well, I mean, I've got my shirt on. I'm going to have it on all day. Probably at home though. I was going to go to one of the local pubs and watch it, but yeah, maybe not after yesterday. But I think next Saturday I'm going to go out and watch it if we manage to progress. Because it is next Saturday, isn't it? The next game, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Let's not preempt it. But if we do get through, I'll probably go have a few beers and watch it somewhere. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's coming home. It's coming home and all that.
Well, famous last words.
I know. But yeah, maybe we should call it there. It's been a bit of a hybrid episode of talking about hot air and yesterday's activities. But is all you want to add, mate? Anything that we've forgotten about?
No, I just want to say that again. It was great. It was a great day yesterday, and I'm glad we've done this. Again, it's a completely different episode. We've just decided to just go for it. And like I said, it's interesting for us because I think this is the first time we've ever actually had to be negative on the vent about what's going on at the moment. I don't want people thinking that we're in the club's pocket. We ain't. I promise you that. And hopefully this episode will show that. So, yeah, up the effing chickens.
Indeed. Chris is in the pocket like a little teddy bear.
Give over.
But no, but he's right. I mean, I do feel like it's the first time we've been negative. Maybe you have been negative. But
I think probably sure. You're probably right there.
Because I always like to be quite honest. I try not to pick players out because I feel like it is quite damaging more than what we probably realise. But sometimes it needs to happen. You know, we're fans of this football club. We're not running an agenda where we're saying what people want us to say. Let me get my teeth back in again. It's just our honest opinions, and we've got to do that. And if it is sometimes slating somebody's performance, then that is their job to do it. So we pay them money do it to go and watch them every week. It's maybe they're going in their pockets, but we pay to follow this club. You spend a fortune to travel all over the country. You've got your right to say what you want. And yesterday, last couple of weeks, has not been good enough. So some of these players need to kick up the arse.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like I say, when you've got 12,000 fans, not saying that warrants
12,000.
1,200. That doesn't warrant us being expecting to win against top of the table. No, but what we expect is a team that goes out there that works, and it just needs to be better. I mean, they've had nearly 2 weeks off for the Leyton Orient game. I'm not classing Salford as a game. Screw that. We just expect better, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Just a couple of last things, actually, I've just remembered because you're still sporting a disgusting facial feature.
It's coming off today, mate.
I'd just like to thank everybody for the donations for Movember. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mine's gone because I looked awful with it. So thank you so much for it. Chris still looks awful, but he's going to take his off. He did say to me yesterday that he thinks he looks quite sexy with it.
I mean, that's a complete lie. Why would I go, do you know what, Adam? I think I look really sexy with this.
You did, and you were asking Bruce. You did say that. You did say that. But honestly, thank you so much for it. I can actually, my hair's going back and all, I can actually gel it. So Chris is like, never shave your head again. But why not? Why not?
Because you looked absolutely awful. You had a Britney moment. You shaved your hair off, and you looked horrible. Although you said the same to me, to be fair, mate. When I had my other haircut, you went,
"You're bad."
Again, mate.
I wonder when look like that. What's it called? A Dumb and Dumber. the dumber one.
Like Christmas.
Like Christmas. Anyway, poor joke to finish on. But no, thank you very much for listening as always, guys. More stuff coming, guests coming, stuff like that. So thank you for listening. You tell them what to do with likes and stuff, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
He says that, but he's always on Twitter. Like us on Twitter, like us on all your podcasts, major podcast platforms. Give us a 5-star, even if you hate us. That would be great. Follow the YouTube channel, and yeah, we'll just keep you updated with stuff. We have got a couple of exciting things in the pipeline that we are hoping to get over the herd. In fact, actually, we've got 2 really exciting things coming up, but I won't mention what they are. But yeah, other than that, thanks for listening, and up the fucking chickens.
Up the fucking balls. Up the fucking balls.